The Chinese high-tech giant Huawei is the world's largest seller of telecom equipment. About 3 billion people in more than 170 countries use its products. It sells more smartphones than Apple and is second only to Samsung. But the Trump administration reportedly is thinking of banning all Huawei products in the United States. It claims the company is a threat to national security. Huawei's founder and CEO Ren Zhengfei denies the U.S. allegations. We spoke with him at the company's headquarters in Shenzhen, China, in his first TV interview with an American journalist. The big issue here, and that is the United States government and security agencies believing that you provide a backdoor to Chinese intelligence. Can you refute that categorically?
Absolutely not possible. And also, we never participate in espionage, and we do not allow any of our employees to do any act like that. And we absolutely never install backdoors. Even if we were required by Chinese law, we would firmly reject that.
U.S. officials point to a 2017 Chinese law requiring its companies to assist in national intelligence gathering.
Huawei and its senior executives repeatedly refused to respect U.S. law and standard international business practices.
In January, the Department of Justice hit Huawei with 23 criminal charges, alleging bank and wire fraud, violating sanctions on Iran, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Its CFO, Meng Wanzhou, was arrested in Canada, where she's currently under house arrest.
I think arresting Ms. Meng Wanzhou is politically motivated.
Meng is also Ren Zhengfei's daughter.
She's facing extradition to the United States. These are serious charges leveled against her. Why do you call these charges politically motivated?
I can only answer your question after the court makes its decision.
Do you have a statement as to whether or not Huawei violated international sanctions?
We still have to wait till the court makes the decision.
Do you feel that you, your company, and your daughter are used as a tool?
I think both China and the United States are of large scale. And while those powers clash, our company is as small as a tomato. We are not that. We do not carry that big weight. And neither does Ms. Meng Wanzhou. And I don't think Meng Wanzhou has anything to do with the clashes between the two powers.
The two powers are in the middle of trade talks over U.S.-imposed tariffs on Chinese imports. President Trump has threatened to raise them next month.
I know that China would like not for that to happen.
The Justice Department is also accusing Huawei of corporate espionage for stealing from T-Mobile, an American company.
You settled a lawsuit with the company when they accused you of stealing an arm of its robot called Tappy. The FBI found internal emails suggesting that the company rewarded stealing intellectual property. Is that the case?
First of all, we have a very clear position. We never reward any employee for improper actions. We actually punish them. And for these cases that you mentioned, they are already in legal proceedings. So let's wait for the court to make its final decision.
So just to be clear, you never authorized internal emails that rewarded employees who stole intellectual property from competitors?
Definitely, I punish employees for improper behavior, because if you don't do that, a company of this scale, how can we survive? And our company highly respects intellectual property.
Former CIA acting director Michael Morrell is not convinced.
The rap sheet on Huawei just gets longer and longer. Huawei increasingly is making itself a platform from which Chinese intelligence can do its job around the world.
The Trump administration is reportedly considering an executive order banning Chinese telecoms in the U.S. That would include Huawei.
What is your response when you hear the director of the CIA, Gina Haspel, say that she would never use a Huawei product because of safety and intelligence concerns? Former director of the CIA, Michael Hayden, said that he has seen enough evidence to persuade him that Huawei is spying for China.
Maybe it's because they don't use our equipment. We focus on what we can do. It's okay to leave behind what's impossible.
And despite a lot of pushback from the United States, they seem to be doing just fine from a revenue standpoint. They're $100 billion in revenue last year. They're expecting to see 20% growth in the coming year ahead.
It was a really interesting interview. I remember when I sat down with the FBI director, Chris Wray. He spent a lot of time talking about China stealing our secrets. He called it economic espionage, and they're saying that Huawei is helping the Chinese government do that. That's why those are not allowed here in the United States. And here it is, timely, front page of the Wall Street Journal, right. Bianna, Europe talking about allowing Huawei in to help them with some stuff. It's a big deal.
Yeah, U.S. officials are trying to convince the European countries not to use Huawei products. Many of those countries are saying, thank you for the advice. For now, we may continue to use Huawei. So that will be in tomorrow's piece. All of this, of course, centered on 5G technology. We're going to give you a piece tomorrow on what that is and why Huawei is the leader in 5G technology.
Yeah, this is a war that's going that many people don't recognize, a cyber war. Yeah. Cellular war.
And it's the #1 national security concern for most of the intelligence agencies.
That's why I think it's interesting that he sat down with you to say, okay, this is who we are.
How did that come about?
Yeah. He said it's the first time that he's wanted to come forward. He said he spent most of his time focused on internal politics, but there's clearly a lot of international pressure on the company right now, and he wanted to speak his mind, not to mention defend his daughter.
Yes.
Interesting.
Then you have him on the record.
Yeah.
Nice.